Good evening. We're here at the Raleigh Board of Water Commissioners. The meeting is October 6th, 2013. 8th, I'm sorry. October 8th, 2013. It is 6:06. Good evening, everyone. In attendance are John Reza, Stu Dalzell, Tim Toomey, Roy Ricker, and Carmine. And then we have Mrs. Snow. Okay. First order of business is accept the minutes from October 1st of 2013. Is there any corrections or anything there, gentlemen? You want a minute to review it?
I'm all set with it, except for Carmen spelled my name wrong.
I have no problems.
Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
One second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second order is signed purchase orders. Univar USA, we have caustic soda. Is this on the new preferred rate, John? Is that organization we're in?
Yes, the consortium.
Yeah. Yeah, can we put that light on?
Excellent.
There we go.
There you go.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, the next order of business is sign abatements. Last week we had Mr. Ondeck or Mrs. Ondeck. Yeah, Mr. Ondeck.
That was corrected as you requested.
Well, this is the guy with it spiked up and it was supposedly away. Larry.
Yeah. So what happened there, John? I thought there was it just an error on the form or something? Or what was it?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a abatement of $253.83. Okay. John, while we're waiting, going through this, do you want to go over the minutes and the progress of the water treatment plant? If you have that, can you just give us an update on that for the public?
You want the whole,
Yeah, we don't want you to read everything, just kind of give us what's going on, where we're at now,
project
where we're
schedule
going.
and proposed work?
Yeah,
I was gonna sign both.
yeah, Stu, supposed to sign both.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
This was the meeting minutes from September 24th, 2013. Project schedule, progress of work completed. Water main installation for well number 3 from the river crossing to the pump station has been completed. Process piping, including pipe support installation, has begun in the tanks and pipe gallery. The trusses over the process building have been installed. Plywood roof and ice and water shield have been installed over the process area. The exterior block has been installed on 3 of the 4 sides of the process area. Trim and sockets were installed over the process area. Site work continued with the excavation of the drainage basins. Optical conduit installation for the admin area continued. Interior block has begun in the admin area, and residual basin walls were completed. Proposed work activities for this period. For October, frame admin area roof. Mason will complete exterior veneer in the admin area. Primer/block fill and first coat of paint will continue. Roof installation to start. Well number 3 cross-country cleanup. Residual piping will continue to the residuals and infiltration basins. And then continue process pipe installation in the pipe gallery. Begin installing valves. Begin work on all equipment. And install binder before.
All right, in the schedule, it says an updated schedule has not been distributed by Kinsman. Kinsman emailed that latest updated schedule on 9/3. Schedule shows substantial completion by April 29, 2014. So, so the schedule, substantial completion, what does that mean, John?
Well, I would imagine the lion's share of the project. substantial isn't complete, so there may be a punch list of.
Okay, so I noticed on here that we have you, Laura, John Hargraves, Barbara Cook, John Sikora, Weston and Sampson. Of course, Barbara Cook's from Weston and Sampson. And then we have Gene Connors, the only person from the construction company there.
Yeah.
Then I got Ryan Nealon, he's Weston and Sampson. I got 3 people from Weston and Sampson. I suppose they have different areas of expertise. How long do these meetings last?
Not too long, generally less than an hour.
Okay. And then we get Glenn and Rob in there too, so. Is that necessary, or?
At that time, we were talking about the piping work leading up to Station 3,
Yeah,
so just to keep kind of knowing what's going on in
Okay.
that part of the project.
all right,
They sat in on that one.
all right. Okay, so it'll last about an hour or two, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and that happens once a month, okay. Well, thanks for the update. Another abatement is Car Farrelly.
Yeah, they wanted to come in and talk about a week that they had, but they called earlier and said they couldn't make it this evening,
Okay,
so they were going to reschedule for the next meeting.
all right. Lab procurement, approved vendors and policy. So what do we have for laboratory?
Well, I got price lists from 2 or 3 labs here.
You got pricing from BioMarine,
Yep. Silver Analytical.
Ashoba Analytical. Now, is this the same thing here, or this here and here?
Yeah, that was some additional stuff that Glenn had requested. And Yamro Environmental.
John, if you were getting the prices, why is Glenn Smith's name on here for the email?
For the what?
Sending you back the email.
I don't think he realized I had already contacted the show.
So, what I would,
These are the chemicals that Laura went out there to Littleton there and got into that.
No, these are for scheduled testing of the drinking water.
So the same part of that thing that we could get into.
No,
Okay.
no, this is sample.
well, why don't we do this? Why don't we take this and review it for the next meeting?
Compare prices.
Yeah. And you wanna figure out who's got the best price? Now, can you put the, what I would suggest you do is you put together a list of, how often you sample? Is it once a month, or is it?
Call forms are once a month. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but there's different compounds for different quarters of the year. And,
So they're the same compounds for a quarter, but they're just taken every quarterly?
no, sometimes they're different. Some of them are only required once every 2 years or 3 years. We never really know until they issue the sample schedule at the beginning of the year, what they're looking for.
John, here's another one. They were talking to Glenn about the prices. Why aren't you getting the prices?
Yeah, I called for that one too.
Well, what we need to know is, maybe if you get a typical bill together, and see what the tests would, because there's a whole bunch of tests, and add up the tests from the different labs and just tell us what that bill would look like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In other words, take one of your biomarine bills, and specify all the tests that you run, and then do a mock bill from these other quotes that we're getting, okay? Can you do that?
Yeah.
So we can look at that and say, okay, well, they might get, $25 for a conductivity test, but the other lab gets $35. And so when you combine everything together, you know what the total cost of that lab bill is gonna be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we can see what the best lab price is.
Did you call that company in, I believe it was Merrimack, New Hampshire?
Yes.
You have a quote from them?
Yeah, this is Emerald. See, they give the method here too, John. These other outfits don't give the method.
Right.
So you gotta be able to compare apples to apples.
Right.
It looks like Emerald's got everything here with references and they even have a holding time, we had a little problem with holding time.
Right.
You get the holding times right on the pricing. And then these other outfits, they got just a price per sample. Lead and copper, let's see what they do here, just to check this out quickly. So they get good rates over there. Lead and copper, they get $25. For metals, they get 15 over at Emerald, so. What does biomarine get? Oh, that is biomarine. Okay, so why don't we do that? We'll look at these and then what we would like to do is see what a mock-up bill would be for the various metals and see who's got the best pricing for our needs, you know what I mean? Because you can't just take it on one thing that we do here.
Right.
All right, and then find out if these people pick up. They have a courier service, and is that extra? Because the object of the game is if we have to send somebody and spend 3 hours getting the samples to the lab from soup to nuts,
Right.
that's just a resource that we could be doing something else with, okay? All right?
Yep.
So that'll be on for the next agenda. Combination pricing for our needs per lab, okay?
Yep.
And then you're gonna call up, find out whether they have courier service,
Courier service.
all right? We already did the waste treatment plant progress update, so. Next item is update on the water sample testing. That's what we just did. Route 133 redo, modification of the pavement repair. So did anybody give us another price for doing the 2011 job over there on Route 133?
The only one I've gotten back so far is Brock's.
You have to look at this, Jim, and they promised they'll have it done by the November 15th. We're running out of time. I think we should move on this and get it done, and the prices are not bad at all. Third time in place, considering the price of mixes and everything is right now.
Yeah.
We need 3 quotes.
Well, nobody else has returned them still. And we're running out of time.
Somebody
We're not
else
gonna get
must be
it done again.
interested.
We went through this last winter and we didn't get it done. You weren't here, but I mean, it was, we tried to get it done last year and kept playing with it. We're running out of time. You know that as well as I do with the hot tub. So I'd like to make a recommendation that we have Brock's do it and get it over done with. They're one of our vendors anyway. And Ron works with Brock's on a daily basis for his work. He has a town bid.
So Ron, can Ron look at this and tell us if that's acceptable? I go along with it if Ron likes that, okay? And we're not happy about no 3 bids. So does anybody else want to do business with
The
us?
thing is that at the end of the year, Tim, you are not gonna get people gonna wanna rush to do this.
Okay,
You know, we're running out of time, we got a month left, and by state thing, once it gets to, we start getting to 32 degrees, you can't do state work, and that's our partial state road.
okay. So I would make, let's have a motion to accept this, and then
I'll make a motion to accept it.
let's add to that Ron's got to approve this.
I'll make a motion that we accept this bid with Ron's approval.
Okay. Do I have a second for that? We want to discuss this?
I want 3 quotes.
All right, we'll do it next year, John. So just tell Brock we're not gonna do it this year. We can have the selectmen and the highway department after us more. We've been playing with this for 2 years. Let's get it done. Hot dog companies are buried. We're lucky to have somebody that will do it. And guarantee it'll be done by November 15th. They do all the other town work. I don't know why we have to keep playing, kissing somebody's behind to get them to give us a bid.
Do we have money in the budget? This is the total thing is what? How much does it cost, John?
$138 a ton in place.
Well, no, what's the total?
And we gotta figure out the,
122 ton.
600 square yards.
Well, what's the total price?
We don't show the total, I don't believe. They'll do it at night, so it's not gonna screw up traffic.
The way this is estimated, there is not a total price.
No, you have to map it out. Item 1 is the cold cleaning. Item 2 is the paving.
Yeah. What's the total price?
Working it.
We want to send it back to them and get a total lump sum bid for it?
You can.
Okay.
Gotta do it within 30 days, the price goes up.
See, demob is $4,200. But they don't have additional work and services. Greater service is $320 an hour. Leveling and patching of machinery by machine is $130 per ton, is I think. Sweeper service, hand patching, water truck, curb patch. You know, there's a lot of things on here that may not apply. I don't. We want to get a price here, John, that we can say this is the cost. Because I've heard prices all over the map. And then we don't have 3 quotes, and Roy's right, we've been, you know...
We've been playing with it for 2 years, let's get it over and done with, you know?
Yeah, but what's the price, Brian?
All you do is figure out your square footage, you get right there,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, but they can figure that out too.
Well, they can, but what I'm saying is we're running out of time and we're not gonna get it done this year. We're gonna have to start listening to everybody downtown again.
Well,
How many years we wanna listen to this?
it's to me, it's like it could be a lump sum price. That they got the square footage out there, they know what they gotta do. Ron's gotta approve this. Can Ron approve this? Can you bring this down here tomorrow and have Ron approve it and bring it to the next meeting?
Yeah.
Because that'll put us into, when do they close the plants down?
Depending on the weather, anytime from December 1st to the 15th.
Yeah.
But then you gotta go by temperature too.
Because he put this together on the 8th. I seen another proposal by him. Or by Brock's.
You know, this was done today. But he guarantees, if reading down through it, he guarantees it'll be done by the 15th. Go by in November.
Yeah. But I thought that there was a lump sum price for it, but there isn't. The price that Laura put down before was the mobilization cost. Okay, so that's on the agenda for the next meeting, because we gotta have, Ron's gotta approve this. And that's a motion by the board. Do I have a second on Ron approves this before we do it? Do I have a second?
I'm sorry.
All in favor? Aye. And,
Abstain until I see 3 quotes.
okay, so,
We'll start calling tomorrow morning, so we, instead of sitting around the house,
No.
start calling and getting some numbers for us.
no, and then you gotta work with them to get a price on this, because this is like open-ended. This could be anywhere from 6,000 to 14 to 15,000.
Exactly. Can I bring up some old business?
Let's move on with, what's the next thing on this?
Uh,
That takes care of the 133.
People up the, next to the plant,
Um,
Petro.
Petrollo, what's the latest on the investigation, John?
There's no slip that I can put my hands on.
You still can't get hold of that slip, huh?
No.
Did they, any feedback from the contractor, like Weston and Sampson?
Just that email that they sent us
When was that?
a couple of weeks ago.
Any other incidents down there?
Not with the patrols, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Not-
What about signs? Any movement on getting signs revised or straightened out down there?
There's a sign that John helped put up that says 64 Fingry Farm Road with an arrow pointing down. But I think they want
The distance on there,
a distance.
yeah,
So I sent a copy of the letter to John's.
okay. And when he say he's gonna address it?
As soon as he can, we'll wheel off the distance and put a footage on there, I guess would be the best thing.
Well, is he gonna do the wheel or are you gonna do the wheel?
It doesn't matter, I can do it.
Yeah, why don't you do that? just to get this thing going. We want to just kind of put this issue to bed, okay?
All right.
All right, the next thing is the update on the policy for abatements procedures. You were going to check on what other communities do.
Yeah, I talked to Glenn about Georgetown, and most towns, if push comes to shove, it's a meter test.
Okay.
Because people are
And if the
Question.
meter is all right,
questioning the meter.
if they question the meter's all right, then they're gonna pay the $100 for the test, correct?
Right.
Good. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
That sounds fair.
it's like questioning any meter. You're saying the meter's at fault.
Well, who makes the decision of getting the meter tested? Is that going to be us?
Well, you can make them the offer, you know. There's a fee associated with it because we have to send it to a third party.
What we should have in the thing is, like what he's got here, send the meter out, meter comes back and there's nothing wrong with the meter, then they pay the cost of having the meter tested on top of what they owe, correct?
Right.
How does that work out?
And if there's something wrong with the meter, then we gotta bite the bullet and eat
What if
it.
they say, I don't believe the testing outfit? They don't want to pay the 100.
How you gonna argue the meter testing company? You know,
I just think I'm playing the devil's advocate here.
Yeah, I mean, they're
we're allowed, what, 2% of it, John?
certified meter testers.
Are they independent from the company you buy the meters from?
Yes.
So a customer disputes a bill and they want an abatement, and it's obvious to you guys that it could be either a meter problem or it could be something else that might not even be related to a leak, or might be a usage thing that they had left their hose running.
Right.
Okay, so then you, the policy would be to offer the customer to test the meter if he thinks it's a meter problem. But if it comes back within,
Within 2 plus or minus 2%.
yeah,
I mean, the way this is worded right here, right now, I agree with it 100%. And I think we should adopt that into our policy.
okay.
I mean, if somebody's got a leak and they find it right away and they repair it, that's a different story. But the people that just let it go on and on and on, and then all of a sudden, you may know there's something wrong with the meter, and there's nothing wrong with the meter, then yes, they should pay for the test for the meter. I don't have a problem with that.
Well, then it gives you some flexibility to.
Exactly, because I mean, like somebody jumps right onto it, finds out they got a leak. And they call a plumber, or somebody in to have it fixed the next day or whatever. Instead of, people that just wait to let it go 60 days or 30 days or whatever. I think this is a good policy to have the way it's written.
My suggestion I would make here at this point, I think we should adopt a draft policy right now, since we're getting abatements all the time. But I would say in the second paragraph, if a leak is found and repaired promptly and is documented by the water superintendent, it will be at the discretion of the Board of Water Commissioners to determine the final charges to be assessed. Okay? So it's going to be up to you, John, to document, a leak or whatever. So we can
Well, he's
rely
doing
on
that
you.
in the first paragraph here with using the meter download and the data logger. for the past 90 days of usage, Jim. So I mean, there's a backup to that.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
If you read the first paragraph,
Yep. If
Right.
customer contests.
we will investigate the leaks with meter download of the data logger for the past 90 days of usage, then meet with the customer to discuss. And then if the leak is found and repaired promptly, it'll be this discretion of us to determine the final charges to be assessed. I mean, I think that covers it all right there.
Well, I think that we need to have more of a role by the superintendent to say that he
Well,
checks.
he's doing that with the download of the data logger for the past 90 days.
John doesn't do the data logger.
Whoever does it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a employee of the water department.
Right, that employee that works under John, so John works under us. So we want the superintendent to make sure these things are done properly or properly documented. And so he's the one here tonight. We want to take information from him. So that's why I want to put the water superintendent into this verbiage, so we can depend on somebody. We want to hear somebody, and we're going to depend on John to give us the scoop, because he's going to investigate it, okay? Because, Rob or, Glenn or somebody's going to be out there with the data logger, or they're going to get the data, they're going to bring it in. Somebody's going to put it on a piece of paper, we're going to see the bar graphs and everything. And then John's going to look at that to give it to us, okay? So that's what I'd like to do, is put the water superintendent more intimately involved in that.
Jamie's got a question there.
Chairman, may I ask a question? I'm
Sure.
thinking more of the consumer side. What is the policy if my water meter is a problem, it's determined that it's a problem, and my bill was 4 times what it usually is? Obviously, an abatement is due. I, in good faith, have paid that, so is that a direct rebate on my bill, or do I get a check back? You may want to consider adding some verbiage that
Very good point.
into that, because if I'm paying $1,000 bill and I've paid it in good faith, I'm not going to be happy if they're just going to say that we just won't charge you until you hit $1,000. So you may want to consider something from the consumer side as well to protect the customers.
In other words, a rebate of 600, the water department should not hold it at 600.
Yeah.
They should send it back
It should
to the
be up to
customer.
the decision of the consumer. Do you want me to just give you your money back, or do you want me to give it a credit to your account?
Yeah.
We've done that before.
Well, I think I looked at this last abatement we issued, and Laura showed me what happens when somebody doesn't pay the full amount or pays too much.
Right.
And it goes into the computer as, and maybe you can verify this, Carmen.
Into an arrears type thing where
Yeah.
it just gets forwarded over to the next month's bill.
Right, it's either forwarded to the next month's bill, or maybe there would be a reimbursement, or, there could be a make arrangements, so. I think that's already built into the system.
Since
but
I've
maybe-
been on, I think we have given, in the 4.5 years I've been here, we have given, abatement back to them, for the money. I remember right back with, Marie was still there.
Yeah, I think that was kind of confusing. As I recall, I remember that too. I think that was kind of confusing. So
I mean,
we,
this basically covers everything to do with the leak, the way John's drafted this up. If you want to add that superintendent thing in there, I have no problem with that, but I think we should draft this as a,
reimbursement, let's try to put some verbiage in about reimbursement. Shall be appropriate, applied to customer per water superintendent. Direction, okay? So in other words, you're gonna be responsible for making sure that they get reimbursed or the fee gets applied to the following bill, okay?
Correct.
Yeah. So why don't I hand you that? Well, let's first of all, is everybody in agreement with this?
Yeah, I think we should draft this into our bylaws.
Well, we can't do that overnight, so we're gonna have a draft policy in the interim to guide us anytime another abatement comes forward. So I need a motion to put this forward as a draft policy. So in the interim, until we can get it into our bylaws.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Let's sign that, just, let's make sure we sign it as a roll call vote. So this will go on with the minutes too, John. Get the minutes done. Okay? Okay, so that takes care of that. Hydrant repair on what, Route 133? Keep that as the original with the original minutes.
John, have you investigated the accident report? To file a claim?
I haven't got the accident report.
You haven't been up to ask for it?
I haven't.
I've heard from this board that the motorist was uninsured, but I also heard yesterday, it's my understanding that the automobile was insured, but it was a divorce situation, and the gentleman was turning the car over to his wife, so the insurance was canceled shortly afterwards. But at the time of the accident, I was told it was insured.
Okay, so,
And the police officer was going to double check his records. If it wasn't insured, he would have cited the motorist for being uninsured.
where did you find out it was an uninsured motorist?
Excuse me?
No, I'm asking John.
That's what the insurance recovery company told me about.
So they,
This happened on 6th. What day did you call? 6th of September.
When was that? Was that a weekend? The accident occurred?
We've been on Friday. September 6th, you said, right?
Yes.
That was a Friday.
when did you get notification that there was a broken hydrant?
One of the operators called me on the weekend and said that I hadn't been hit.
Who told him?
Well, they called him out to shut it off.
Who called him?
The police, I imagine.
Was it leaking?
It was when you put the listener on it, it was hissing. Yeah. You shut the game off just so nothing would happen.
When you replaced it yesterday, was the old one broken down to the bottom?
It's hard to say. It was a leaded joint.
Okay.
When you twist them, they're not like mechanical joints.
The long and the short of it, what I'm trying to say is, The accident took place September 6th, and a few days later, he canceled the insurance.
So it should cover it.
It would be covered.
I see. Well, I can check
So
it.
I'm requesting
Check it.
to go to the police station and get a copy of the report. While we're talking about hydrants, we met,
Excuse me, Stu, can we still talk about this a little bit longer here? I want to find out why we have been going around since September 6th. That's almost 5 weeks now. So after September 6th, you called up, why did you normally call Bartlett up?
Because
Is that the contractor that,
the accident recovery, they repair municipal damage and charge the insurance company at no
so they
cost
take over from there?
to the town, yes.
So when was that call made, the Bartlett?
I believe it was the following Monday.
Okay. Who called them?
I think I did.
Okay. Now, is Bartlett the only guy that does that?
It's the only one I've used in the past.
Okay. Is that what Ron uses to go?
Yeah.
So Ron uses them and then you will use them? Okay.
Yeah.
So you gave it to them, so when did they call you back and say, uninsured?
It usually takes them a week or two to,
Do you know when they called you back?
I don't know the exact
Yeah.
dates of dates of times. Often.
Yeah, but if they wipe out a hydrant, if they're getting the sole source call, I can't understand why they wouldn't be out there the next morning. It's a fire hydrant. They're gonna take 2 weeks to respond to something like that?
Probably check to see who's gonna pay for it. Probably the first thing they do before they even.
But if they call up the police got a police report, police got a car, police got an accident report, police got an insurance policy. It's just a matter of, if they're getting these jobs, and they're charging $8,000 to do it, right? That's what their price is, $8,000. You think they could do that the next day?
You'd think.
Perhaps we ought to look at, maybe find some other vendors out there that would be more responsive to our needs.
Check for it. Insurance recovery.
Because, if they're charging $8,000 and we're getting prices from $1,200 to $8,000, I would say, you know what? Because you just got some pricing on that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we gotta sharpen our pencils here. So maybe we shouldn't be calling Bartlett every time there's a fire hydrant hit.
I'll see.
Especially if they're gonna respond in 2 weeks for a fire hydrant that we need fixed immediately. Then they drop the ball about this insurance thing. Maybe, I don't know. We still got one, we have another investigation going on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Stu, you wanna continue on?
John, you're working for the water department, yeah? You have to take the bull by the horns. We can't be out the price of the hydrant and the labor if there is insurance. We talked about fire department markers a week or two ago,
Yep.
and I talked with the fire chief yesterday. They prefer the kind that go over the, wrap around the 2.5-inch opening, stick up with a flag on top, instead of the iron pipes. That's like on the right, could be on the right side of the hydrant.
That's more than 2.5, that's like 3 or 4.
Well, it's a 2.5-inch opening. They
I was told by different firemen that they prefer the ones with the spring, because they have to bend those every time that they loosen up the cap so they fall down. I'd like to see the difference in the prices between the ones that we have, which Stewie's talking about now, and the price of the ones with the spring and the fiberglass.
I'm just bringing it to the board what the fire chief prefers.
Right, but I've been told by the firemen themselves, the guys that actually do the work, not the guys that sit in the white car and just watch everything.
He does
That
not
they-
sit in a white
that
car.
they'd
He goes
like
he goes to the fire.
They have the ones
works.
that they don't have to bend and move so they can open the hydrant as quick as they can.
So the fire chief.
So I think we need some prices of the different ones.
And a preference?
Yes, he'll be glad to come in and discuss it,
Okay.
if there's any question.
So do we want to replace, we talked about this last time, do we want to replace these?
No, I'd like to see the prices on the different ones, what the difference is. I asked that before and nobody wanted to go for it 2 years ago. We talked about it.
Well, we just, you know, we
It
met
was back
with
when Jason was doing that.
well, we met with the state today, and they said we should consider having a improvement plan. And that would fall under something like that, an
Yep.
improvement plan. Okay, so maybe we could
Just-
replace
You know, and all,
15 a year.
one thing I did like about the fiberglass ones, they're reflective. You can see them. With these ones here, you can't see. They just put a little dinky, 1-inch square reflector thing on it. And when you're out plowing snow and pushing snow back, you can see the things.
Do we have any literature on the fiberglass ones?
No, that's what I said. We need to get prices.
Okay, so can we, I'm not even sure, I
I
can't.
don't even know where you go for something like that. I mean, you must have a supplier that
Yeah.
calls you and you can get some prices.
Usually that's a little bit.
Thanks, Jamie.
Good night.
You ready, Jimmy? Have a good night.
Oh, great, thank you.
Good night, Jimmy.
Good night.
So if we have,
We'll get some prices and then we decide from there. That's all
so
I'm
let's,
asking.
when the chief comes in, get prices on Roy's thing. And
Fiberglass with
well,
spring.
yeah, just you need to go on the internet and find out what, get a picture for him.
Yeah.
I look
Show
at-
it to him.
I mean, you can't see when you're pushing the snow back. I mean, I push the snow back up my way to the different hydrants. You cannot see those holes at all. 90% of the time they're rusty. Reflective tape is only an inch square thing. And if you get a lot of snow, you get a decent sized snowbank, you can't see the hydrants.
I look at it this way. We're collecting $35,600 a year rent from the fire hydrants. I think the fire department, the fire chief, should have what he prefers. And while I'm talking about the rent we collect on the fire hydrants, John, where is this? What's behind that?
One of those pictures.
It's pretty well covered.
That's a fire hydrant that hasn't been touched.
Where's that?
In a Vale Circle,
In the Vale Reservoir,
in a Vale, off Crystal Road.
off Christopher
There's
Road.
another one.
I can't even tell if this is, can you see a fire hydrant there at all? No.
Exactly. John, this is unacceptable. This is safety. The firemen don't need to be in the thorns and poison ivy to hook up a hydrant, or even worse, get a stick in their eye in the nighttime or something. There's a tree just beyond the Institution Bank driveway. That's a small tree and the branches are hanging down. I don't know why it's not trimmed. I mean, when the foliage is gone, a fireman looking up to a hydrant there at night could get a stick in the eye.
So this is
unacceptable.
This is a close-up of this one here, right?
We've had a man mowing and trimming for 3 months, and this is ridiculous.
What's that one still?
This one's I think that one's down Main Street.
Okay, so, how many more in town are like this?
I can't tell you the exact number, but what I've asked in the past, John, I've asked you to take a ride around and check these hydrants when you still have a laborer here. You have to ride around and see how they're doing. I mean, when there's a fire, seconds come. Life and death. And
John, I don't wanna stop
We
bragging
will
about
take care
that.
of it.
excuse me?
We'll take care of it.
We talked about this last week, John. Didn't we talk about this last week? About fire hydrants and a couple weeks ago, he had to do that before he left.
Yeah, but there's a
How many,
lot.
how many things you can get done in 8 hours a day? You know, I mean, you need
Well,
to labor all
that's
the time, nobody wants to have that,
That
so.
wasn't touched all year. Right.
I know it, you can't do the whole town with one person. We brought it in a month late to begin with.
Okay, so what are you gonna, what's the course of action here, John? What specifically are you gonna do? Make sure all these fire hydrants are clear.
Go around, check them all, make a list.
Yeah, but when? We wanna know when. Now that we know this, we don't, tomorrow. We don't wanna,
I got
bring,
the
we don't
EP
wanna,
coming back tomorrow.
I know, but this is important. If something happens and they can't find a fire hydrant, what happens?
I understand.
So, tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow.
Is that it?
Under old business, also called to my attention that an employee was working here most of the day, at least last Saturday. And did you ask that employee to work, John? When they come in and do the work, and the times, at the end of the day, they have to be told to go home.
So when was he working?
Excuse me?
When was he working?
There was an employee working last Saturday. I'm not mentioning names.
Okay.
It's been called to my attention this afternoon. They're working most of the day, or all the day. I mean, you cannot build up more than 2 weeks comp time, I believe. But if they're in here, whether it be 7 to 3:30 or 8 to 4:30, whatever, when the time's up, when they're 8 hours, John, you have to tell them to go home.
Yeah, it was something important, I mean, we needed him for overtime. What was he doing, what I'm asking? If we need him and the job's gonna be done, I have no problem with the overtime, but as long as he's doing something.
I am not talking about overtime.
Do you have a procedure that you're using for tracking comp time?
Just my own.
Okay, so how much comp time do you get?
There's one I'm in there right now.
Yeah, okay. How much does Laura have?
I have to ask her what her salary is.
Ask her. What are you gonna ask her? Doesn't she clear the comp time with you?
She told us that.
I believe it's supposed to be the supervisor approves comp time. Is there a record of her comp time?
I'm sure she has one, yes.
Do you have it?
I don't have it.
Okay. All right, so what's the problem with that?
She needs the forward copy.
Well, what's the real problem then? What's the problem with not tracking an employee's content?
Don't know what it is.
Yeah. I don't know. We gotta get our arms around this, John. Can you tell the board next meeting what the clock time is for yourself and Laura?
Yep.
Okay. So we can have some kind of a tracking system. Okay?
Anything else?
Is this the commitment?
And you showed what we pumped at every house, and total was.
Yeah, but this is again.
You have one of these?
When's the last time you got a bill for $3.17?
I'd like to get one of them right about now. So the $80 and $90 ones.
Here's one for, I'll take this one, $1.57.
I'd like to mention to Carmine and Roy, John was at the meeting, and Tim and I were at the meeting last night. We went to ask the selectmen to open a warrant to transfer $32,000 from the business manager's wage account to hire a person for part-time accounting, a few hours a week.
Hey, I'm done. Yeah.
Okay. So we had a meeting last night.
Well, I saw the circus.
Carmine is capable of, very capable of doing the office work. He come in part-time. And I feel this 32,000 is more than adequate from now until next July 1st.
I was there. I feel the same thing, that we should be covered with 32,000. And I think that if need be, if we run into trouble with that, we can go deal with it at the May town meeting. So that's the solution for, the immediate solution for Laura's leaving, so. Okay, do I, any other business that we need?
John,
Oh, this is what, the,
why was the highway truck at the hydrant replacement yesterday instead of the water department's dump truck?
There's a lot of problems with the engine.
What's the matter with it?
It has a habit of not starting as it heats up.
That's the brain box. It's a small box under the hood, about like that. Probably $100 bill at Napa. I used to have a truck like that. That's what it did. Good, so I kept a spare one with me. I mean, if it's not being used, we might as well take the plates off Another question, how are you doing?
Wait, let me ask more about that. So, when's the last time we used that truck?
Quite some time ago.
Is it a year, or is it,
Probably less than a year.
what do we use it on?
Water breaks.
If we're not using it, we're throwing money in the river.
Well, we haven't had any staff to really run it lately, and
John,
now that we do have staff, we can't even run it, John.
John, do you have a CDL?
Yes.
Is there any reason why you can't drive the thing for these guys? Or- But do we got, with these guys at CDLs now? Is Rob a CDL?
No.
Glenn is. Right?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe it is.
How about the fill-in guy?
Not to my knowledge.
The guy coming in is a CDL.
I think he does, yes.
Yeah. Well, do you have his, you have Glenn's, I want to find out how many CDLs we got here, because that's part of the new requirements with the
Contract.
AFP thing, right?
They have to get it.
Why don't you drive it on a water break or a hydrant replacement, John?
Could be considered union work.
Excuse me?
Could be considered union work. No, okay,
That, you know, I don't know if I don't know. I don't know about that. What do you ask about that? You said it could be considered union work. Is there anybody that makes that call in town?
union, yes.
Who's in the union? Huh?
Water department, highway department.
Well, isn't Ron a person of prominence in the union?
Not anymore.
So who took over for Ron?
I don't know.
Was it Pat?
I don't know.
Okay, so we gotta find the person that took over from Ron and say, and we'll give them a letter saying that, you know, hey, we're in a bind. Is there an objection from the union that that superintendent drives that truck? So we can get a, you know, we can talk about, you know, what could be and all that stuff. We wanna find out what it is. It's easy enough to find out, we just, you know, write a letter. If the superintendent writes a letter to the union rep and finds out that, you know, in the emergencies, can the superintendent drive that truck? And then who knows more about what's wrong with that truck? Is it Roy?
Yes.
Okay, so Roy's gone. I can't get any, so when we put that on the next agenda, that Roy gives us an update on what's wrong with that truck.
Has the old truck left yet that was out back?
Why?
I haven't gotten to it yet.
Are there any quotes, John?
Just from the junkyards.
Excuse me?
Just from the junkyards. Reclamation.
What are the quotes from the junkyards?
It was 200 or 300, 1 or 400.
What was it?
2 or 300, I believe, and 1 or 400.
Okay. So, why are we waiting? Do we have a, it's been so long, John, I don't know why we decided on this. So what do we decide when we decided to get rid of those trucks? We went through Debbie, She said you had to do a certain thing to get rid of them, right?
You said there was 3 ways of auction. Yard sale or sealed bids.
Yeah. And so we went, and what do we do?
I don't know, did we decide on one of the 3?
I think we did, yeah.
So we putting that in the paper?
Sealed bid, you have to advertise and
Do we do that?
hold a hearing.
No, we didn't
and
do
open
that.
bids.
So you don't sure we did? I mean, you know.
Do you have 3 quotes from the scrapyards, John, or 2?
We had 3.
One is 400,
One was for-
Is it still good? Is it time? When did you get the bids? They've been out there for like a couple of months now.
It was a couple weeks ago, I think.
Do you have the bids here?
I'm not right in front of me now.
Okay, so we'll hold that up for another week. Next meeting, let's bring the bids up and then make a vote on it. I think that's what we should handle. What do you think, Stu?
I agree and be done with it. Winter's
Yeah.
coming, we don't need it in the way out there.
Right. What about the machine there? The drill press, or what do they call it?
Was there a decision to get rid of it?
Yeah, there was.
Like Roy said he wanted to see if it.
We talked about it, I believe we put that, we tabled that. Tim, well, I wanted to wait till no employees were here, I believe.
Okay, so when do we want to wait for the new employees? I can't remember.
So
To see if they
can-
would use it?
Yes, exactly.
So did you ask the new employees what, like, did you get Glenn's opinion on it yet?
He just said, it's usable as a drill press, but, he's not a machinist.
Yeah. So Glenn's not a machinist. Ralph, does Ralph know how to use it? Not Ralph, I mean, Ron.
Rob,
Do you know how to use it?
a little bit, yeah.
Okay. Well, is there anything you can use it on here?
I'll say this, as handy as a drill press, is somebody will use it. If it's not being used, get rid of it. If it is being used, put it to work. I mean, if it is being used, that's to earn its keep or be gone. If it's being used, fine, that's what I meant to say.
Can you add a little bit more detail in this description here? Didn't I ask you that last time? See, like Neshoba Analytical, lead and carpet testing, 1380. You could also add per state or something, odd request or something, or annual test or something like that. Cleaning is kind of self-explanatory. This one here, Green Year Solutions. don't know, it would seem to me you could, like wireless, you could add a little bit more to it, you know? They got Carol Susie, Peachtree. Let's see what her. Can you pull Carol's bill out of there for me? All right, what's this for, John? She's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days here. I know she comes in here on a regular basis, but what is she doing here?
Helping Laura straighten the Peachtree program out for Sue. For the reports she has to give to Sue.
Okay, do you have an update on the procedures from Laura? Since she's leaving a week from Friday, do you have any procedures that she's got that she can hand out to you so we can, you know, make sure the next person coming in is gonna be covering those bases?
I didn't get to that today.
Yeah, I know you have to
Be
stay.
here all day.
Okay.
I'm gonna be here tomorrow.
Did you tell her that we need that information?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know whether she has anything in writing or not?
I don't.
Okay.
It'll be a long list.
So she comes in and she just, any kind of problems that are arising, she's been coming in and straightening those out for us.
Been doing it for years.
Excuse me?
She's been doing it for quite a few years.
Does she know exactly when she's gonna be done straightening out this thing?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, did you sign this?
Prescott, a pipe coupling, $794. How many couplings, John?
It's on the bill.
There's a couple. What says 900 tubes?
So,
900 feet, okay.
300 foot.
Okay, I understand now, I know what it's for. I know what it's for now. Alright. I don't see a bill in here for Kelly rental. Don't have a bill for them, John? John? You don't have a bill for London Kelly rental yet?
We may have paid him already. Yeah, it's a-
This American Waterworks Association membership 413.
Yes.
What's that, a subscription, a magazine?
No. It's membership of the American Waterworks Association. So each year when the guys go and get recertified, if they use that number, they get a discount on their
Alright.
classes.
Okay, so getting back to what we were talking about last week, John. See, like E.J. Prescott, it's pipe coupling. And it's, what's the price there?
$275 on a couple.
Is it one pipe coupling or is it? How many pipe couplings were there?
It's about 12, I just said.
I believe so.
Yeah. So what would help here for anybody reviewing this, would say, okay, 12 pipe couplings to 275, that sounds reasonable. But one pipe coupling, it'd have to be for a nuclear power plant for us to say, okay, that looks like a pretty good price. I don't know. You know what I mean? So,
We buy wraparounds at $500 a piece.
yeah, now, what are these codes over here?
I can't see. These are the bending codes.
Yeah, I think we talked about this, you know, refresh my memory. Is this the town form that
Yes.
Laura takes and then puts the numbers in?
Yes,
So we can't modify that form?
I would have to ask the accountant.
Okay. But for us, for the commissioners, okay, you got a short code name for the name here. And so it's like a code name for a vendor, and you get the more of the name for us laymen or commissioners. Then you get a description, and I think we could spend some more time putting, when you look at this, make sure that the description looks reasonable for this thing here. This is meaningless, this code number here. I don't know what that is. Is 782790, is that, does that correspond to something, you know?
It could be an accounting code. Accountant.
Yeah. All right, well, once again, if we can add more information like that, if it looks something that's reasonable, it could easily be put in there, so it wouldn't be subject to question when we have these meetings, okay?
Yeah.
Do you handle that form at all, Carmen?
Have not seen it.
Okay. So when you look at these bills, John, maybe you could just go through this and say, let's look at these descriptions. And I know we have the backup here for the bills and everything, but it might make sense if this was a little more detailed. In other words, couplings, pipe coupling is singular. And there are how many pipe couplings in there?
Well,
Yeah. If it was plural, it would make more sense.
okay.
Anything else that, can you think of anything, Carol?
The only thing I can think of, if I may, Commissioners, is if that guy turns out to be uninsured, there's a provision, I believe, I spoke briefly with an attorney friend that I work with sometime. In MGL, there's a provision that states that we file something with the Essex County DA, and he's liable for it regardless. It's a criminal offense. So I could research that a little bit. Find out a little bit more.
Would appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, doing property damage, he's not insured, still his hard.
I've served people, I track people down and serve people in situations like that.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just saying, how can we put it somewhere so it'd be fresh, to be able to capture it, bring it to a meeting, or give it, John could have it. Do you have a file like that, John, that you'd be able to use that as a protocol for going after somebody that's wiped out one of our pieces of equipment regardless?
I don't know if we've ever done that, but maybe town hall has.
Yeah. Because clearly, we need some, we need to grease the skids on that kind of a situation like that, because we can't have a hydrant out. You know, we gotta fix it as soon as possible.
Right.
And, you know, if Bartlett can't get out there, or doesn't get addressed for a couple of weeks, then we can't have that on the picture. But I don't, you know, We need to have a list of, you know, vendors that can respond to our needs. And our need is to get that fire hydrant up and going. They might have to do research. How long does it take to find out if a motorist is registered? I mean, this registry of motor vehicles could tell you in a minute, right?
Yeah. We use, you know, this constable R&B systems and,
Yeah.
you know, whatnot, mass tax, everything,
Yeah.
so.
So we need to address that. So we're gonna get, gonna follow up on the police report and all that stuff, right? All right, anything else?
Just throwing this out there, I don't know if they're agreeable or not.
Isn't that the week that we're short-handed because the other gentleman is going on vacation? Then we can't get our new hire in?
Is it?
Yeah. So the new hire can't come in until the 28th. And the other guy's on vacation the 21st to the 25th, so we're short-handed.
Oh.
And then Laura's not gonna be around. You think you could put it off a week? Then if you put it off a week, John, we got a new employee coming in. How do you feel about that, Phil? We have a new employee coming in on the 28th, and we're short-handed on the week of the 21st. Not only that, this will be our first week without Laura.
Now, I look at it this way. I realize if a man has vacation time coming, but also he has to think of the department, hopefully, also. Can you put it off a week, John?
Yeah. The girl was off that week, that's all. Maybe a few days here and there, or a day or two or something. Maybe it works it well. I'm not doing the whole week.
Did you see the pickle we're in?
You do? We
Okay.
usually are.
You want to think about that and get back to us? No.
Yeah.
Okay, get back to me, you know,
I will.
because that's the policy now.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a new employee coming in.
Yeah.
So he's gonna need, you know, some guidance and some encouragement. And then we have Laura's not gonna be here.
Right.
And then we have the guy on vacation.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Huh?
Hello? No, I think we're just getting finished up. All right.
All right. So if you talk to your girl, you can figure out what days you might want to take, or maybe we, you know, I can give you
I'll
2
work
days or
something.
something, so we can work
I
something.
understand the situation. It's the world of utilities.
Take a half week or something, come in, something like that.
We'll see.
2 days.
We'll work it out.
Okay, fair enough.
Appreciate that.
Okay. Motion to close?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.